So this is an article I found via newsletter. It's on a subject I'm interested in. It's on this uh, Facebook group that imploded as members started having these discussions about sexism and racism. And we're going to show you how to use Wiki to think through this article. And we're going to start not by tweeting this out or responding to it, but by summarizing what it says. Here is a paragraph that I think is pretty interesting from the article, and I put it here and pasted it in. And since we're using Markdown, I've just added these little markups to make sure it's block quoted. So that's the first part. And then the second part is up here. You can see that I create a synopsis. I create a summary of the article. And when we look at the article, we can see here's the summary, and here is the bulk of the article. I could have written any number of things there. It doesn't just have to be a quote. It could be my ideas and so forth. But we'll add a source. And then we'll do the third thing, right? So we've got three things, right? We have the synopsis up here. We have the body, which expands on the synopsis. And down here at the bottom, we have things it links to. So we're going to go and we're going to look for things in our cards that might link to this. And we'll open it in another window here. So, we search around and we try to find something that might relate, right? So looking around, we find this anger spreads fastest. Not just the trolls. This is a article about this idea that you like to think that communities die because of a few toxic people, but it's really more of a broad, general cultural phenomenon, right? It's the culture of the place that spirals downward. So we write up that link there, and this is to remind us whenever we come and reread this article that there's a link to this other idea, that it's not just the trolls. Let's find another one here. So shame, guilt, and social media. This is a idea, and I can see the summary of the idea because you see when we look at the card, we see the summary. The idea here is that shaming is effective, but it's mostly effective in making people want to escape the feeling of being shamed. And if they can do that by leaving the community, or they can do that by creating a faction within your community that feels no shame, they'll do it that way, right? So shame can really backfire in terms of activism and in terms of management. So we keep going through, and we just, as we do this, we remember a user is the group thing. And I noticed that I don't have a page on this idea, so I quickly create this page off of something I previously did. We turn it into a page here. We do the wiki links, and we add some more explanation because this is a pretty skeletal page. And so one of the things that we're doing is as we add things, we realize, oh, there's gaps, there's things that we know about that relate to what we just added. And we're recognizing those gaps in our collection of cards. So that's an important piece, because one of the things that we want this tool to do for us is to remind us of the things that we don't know. This is a tool to remind us of the questions that we aren't asking. We put this stuff in. And here we're detailing a story about one of the early BBSs called Community BBS, a story that Shirky tells about how that BBS died an untimely death when a bunch of high school students got modems and started making fart jokes on it. And down at the bottom, we link to the things that we feel are related here, right? So now we have this own worst enemy. And it reminds me as I'm writing this that one of the things that is wrong with Twitter is it's a community, but it has no community tools, right? So the Shirky piece we were just looking at mentions that communities need tools to defend themselves. And Community needed tools to defend itself, but it didn't have them, right? So I write a short note to myself here about this idea that Twitter is a community with no community tools. And maybe that's something of what's going wrong at Twitter, right? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But it seems worth getting down and then maybe throwing in a couple connections here. So we write it up. And then we link it, right? We link it to the other stuff that just the way that we got to that idea. So we link it to this death of the longest, shortest time mamas. And the links that we put between things, they're different on each side, right? We're linking to one thing as an example of an idea. So we keep going through here. We add different things, and now you see what I'm doing is I'm adding some tags in because I want to be able to pull up everything in one look around an issue. For example, I hate the term civility, but that's the term people use. So throwing that into a tag. And now I can look at all the stuff I have on civility. And if I can't find things, I'll add that stuff in. And I'm looking for other connections, right? I'm reminded that we need maybe this not just the trolls thing on what League of Legends did to protect their community. And that should be linked from the death of the longest, shortest time mamas, right? I put some tags in there so that we can find it when we need to. I remember this fair process effect article that talks about how people will abide by decisions that they don't like as long as they feel the process was fair, and how this relates to the way that League of Legends, in this not just the trolls article, dealt with its problems. And so at the end of this, we're left with much more than we started, right? Just summarizing one article has led us to connecting other articles, writing unique content, and we do this all. And this we sped this up, but this was 25 minutes of work, and I'm excited about this as a learning tool for me and as a learning tool for students.